Okay, in today's session we are going to cover, so in the home screen section only, so what are the section we created in the last session. In the same section we are going to perform more actions, means some more design, some more layouts and all will configure. Okay, in today's session first of all I will show you how to configure image SLE, SLE. Okay, okay, that it's possible but not required in the current version. Inherit means, so that is in a different case. In previous versions we cannot inherit, we have to create. Those are different properties, those belongs to only data class. So even though if you inherit also, it belongs to only data class. So if you want to use it in the user interface, compulsory we have to configure in a work class. Even though if you inherit, the total property behavior is from the data class only, right? It becomes a data class property, it never becomes a work class property, and you cannot use in user interface. So layouts will not support. So what are the layouts we have in there? See here, their data is for saving purpose. Data class property is for saving the data. So without you having the structure of the table, how can you save there? Where you will save? See, normally suppose if you use an external database, will you create properties or not? Same fields you will create or not generally. So without creating table generally, so here instead of creating so this is also data table only. So this is also database. So here also same process. So any technology, not only this. So if you take any other programming language also, we'll create a structure of a table, we'll give, right? So by writing SQL queries and all. So this same fields, by using the coding, you'll define the fields properties in the form, user interface form. So instead of writing the code here, we are using the property names directly. We are creating the property names and we are using here. Suppose in programming languages, so every time we'll create a code for that, for every field. So for every field you will define a code and you will define the user interface. So instead of saving the time and the total design time and all, so here we are giving the directive configuration, we are giving property. So in the property, so in the data class we have to create separately, and in the work class we have to configure separately. So those two properties names will be same but behavior will be different. Okay. Okay, so today's session I'm going to configure. See, generally we used to upload images to the user interface page, right? So here in any images or icons, the process will be same only. So image or icon, if you want to upload any image or icon to the user interface form means, so we have, first of all we need to take a control call. There is a control called icon or image control. Under the basic category, if you go to the basic tab in the user interface, you will be having a control called icon or image. Okay, so first of all we need to use the control and we have to upload the image or icon to PEGA directory. So PEGA directory means, so we have some location, it will be stored in some location in the PEGA server. So we have to upload the image to PEGA directory, and this image, what are the image you are uploading, we have to configure using the control name. Okay, so the process, anytime if you want to upload images or icons into the user interface form, in order to this upload the image, right, we are going to use one rule called binary file. we need to use a rule name called binary file rule, and the purpose of this rule is for uploading the icons or images to the PEGA directory. If you want to upload icon or image to PEGA directory, we have to create this rule and save the image or icon to the directory and reuse that image. Okay, if you want to use in single page or multiple pages. So first of all, if you want to upload an image, we have to upload using the binary file rule, and then we have to reuse. We can reuse in any number of forms. So we'll see first of all this one. So in the same section, okay, yesterday's we have created one section, right? So in the same section I'm going to configure this one. I have taken one, already I saved one image in the desktop. Okay, I'm going to use that one. In the same section I'm going to configure this image. In the last session we created a section name as home screen section. Okay, I'll open that one. Okay, already in the first layout we have some empty space. Okay, so we didn't add any fields or anything inside the first layout. Okay, we are going to configure an image in the first layout now. And first of all, I want to divide the entire layout into 3 different parts. Okay, so in the first control I will use, in the first grid I will use image. In the second grid I will leave it as empty, and in the third grid I will use some link. I will configure some link control. Okay, so what I'm doing is, this dynamic layout I'm going to divide into 3 different parts. Go to settings, layout settings. See, mostly we will use dynamic layout only. So then other layouts is very simple. So smart layout and freeform we will use in the next sessions. Okay, here I am going to take the layout format as inline grid triple. Click on OK. Okay, now this total entire layout is divided into 3 grids, grid 1 and grid 2 and grid 3. So in the first grid I am going to use the control as icon or image control I will use. So first of all, we have to drag and drop the control from this. So already all the controls are available in the basic option. We are having one control called icon or image. Just select, drag and drop this control inside this layout. Okay, inside this first dynamic layout, drag and drop this control. And this control, after adding the control, so within the first grid only it will define. Okay, so and we have some empty space in the second and third, we will reuse it later. So meanwhile I want to upload one image to the, first of all to the PEGA server I have to upload one image. Okay, So in order to upload an image to the PEGA server, we are having a rule called binary file rule. Okay, so using this binary file rule, we can upload images or icons to the PEGA server or PEGA directory. So first of all, binary file rule comes under technical rule type. Under the technical rule type, we are having binary file rule. Okay, so use this one and we are going to upload the image. So from the application explorer, and normally these files we can use in any directory. Okay, so generally we are using the Paytm. I'm going to create everything inside the Paytm only. So go to technical, binary file, okay, give any label for the image. Okay, and file type extension currently is, actually I am having one image in the desktop. I think PNG is the extension. So the extension like JPG or PNG or GIF we have to give. So PNG is the extension type. So enter that one in the extension, and we have to give in small letters. Okay, so this is the label you are giving for the image, and this is the inside the PEGA server, inside this directory it will save this image. Click on open. Okay, you will get an option called upload file. Okay, select image, click on upload. Okay, now click on save. Once after click on the save option, image will get automatically saved in the directory. Click on save. Okay, now go back to the section. So already we have taken the control, icon or image control. Open this control settings or control properties. Now go to icon source. Okay, so that icon source we have taken as image. Okay, click on image. Now go to this image settings. So if you know the name of the image, you can directly search, or else if you click on find me, so many images will be there in the PEGA default directory. So you have to search one by one, list by list, okay, name by name. So your image will be in the somewhere in the list of all the images. So instead of searching each one, if you directly enter the name, because we created recently, right, you will know the name of the image, right? So just enter the name here, click on find, directly you will get the name. Double click on that one, click on OK. Okay, now So I'm taking the default size only. If you want to modify the size, you can manually set the dimensions and all. I'm taking the default size. Now click on OK. Okay, so like this you can enter, you can upload any size of image. Okay, you can upload large images, big images. So based on this image we have to configure separately and save inside a local host in a local system, and from there we have to upload to the PEGA directory, and from PEGA directory we can reuse inside the section in any net. Now the same image if you want to use in any other section we can reuse. Okay, it can be used in throughout the application. In any class we can reuse, not only in the same class, within the application you can reuse this images or anything in any class. You can use in bank class, you can use in sample class also, we can reuse. Okay, so like this anytime, not only images, any icons or any images or anything we can configure. Okay, we can upload to the directory and we can reuse using the icon or image control. Now next we'll see how to configure a link. Okay, so now I'll tell you one procedure how to configure link. Okay, there are 2 to 3 different ways are there. Okay, so right now in today's session I will tell one procedure how to configure link control. So link control we can configure using flow action, and we can also configure using harness also we can configure. Okay, so anyway harness we didn't discuss till now. In the coming sessions you'll get that option, so then I'll discuss that example using the harness. So right now we'll see how to configure a link using the, so from the flow action how to configure a link option we'll see now. And the same section, okay, in the same section and using the same in the first dynamic layout only. So in the top right, in the third grid I am going to use the link control. Okay, already we have space here. So now in the second grid I am going to leave it as empty right now. In the coming sessions I will reuse that one. So in order to, for example, if you want to give spaces between the grids, or if you want to leave any empty space between the controls or anything, so we can use the label option. Okay, so we can label means if you don't want to give any text, so just delete the text. Okay, so by default it will show some default text. If you don't want to give any text means, so just delete the text. So by default it will give a empty space, it will give. So anytime, not only here, in any layout if you want to give some empty space or anything, so we can use the label option. So just drag and drop this option, control label control to the second grid. So by default you will have something called sample text. If you don't want, you can go to the settings and just remove the value. Okay, so now it will be empty space. Okay, now we'll be using this grid in the coming sessions. Okay, we can use some in the future sessions. We'll use to configure the menu bars and navigations we'll use. So how to configure menus and sub menus in the coming sessions I will reuse. Okay, now in the third grid I'm going to configure the link control. Okay, so in the from the basic option you will have a control called link option. Drag and drop to the third part of the left, means inside the third grid I'm going to drag this link control, select this one and drag and drop here. First of all, if you want to give any label for this, go to settings. Okay, in the caption option you can give some label. So I'm giving a label as login or sign up. Okay, so both the things I'm giving in a same link only. So login or sign up. click on OK. See, now the thing is, if I click on this link option, it should open some new page or new pop-up window or new dialog box. It should open. Okay, if you want to open a new dialog box, see, first of all we need to design that one. Okay, what properties it should display and how it should display. So again, so the same screen, okay, it will open some new screen. If I click on this link option, it should open some new screen it should replace the existing window, or it should display in a new pop-up window, or it can display in a dialog box, web dialog box. Okay, that one we will decide it later. So before that, when I click on this link option, it should open some page. Again, that page we have to configure inside a section. So any new thing if you want to display right inside the application, so whenever you configure any link or any button or anything, so those new screens we have to configure from the section rule only. Okay, so now if I click on that link option, I want to display some properties and I need to give some information. If I click on the login, it should display the options from the login. If I click on sign up, it should display the options from the sign up. So for that I have to configure a new section for that, and in that new section I'm going to configure properties. Okay, and I'm going to use a tabbed layout for this scenario. We have one layout called tabbed layout. Okay, I'm going to use a tabbed layout and I will configure that what are the section I'm creating. So we have to create a fly action for this, and this fly action I have to configure from the link settings. Okay, so first of all we will create a section, new section. Give any label. Now add a layout, new layout, and this time I'm going to use a tabbed layout. Okay, go to the layout menu. You can see one option called tab option. Okay, so if you use this option, so it will display tabbed layout. Just drag and drop the tab option below the dynamic layout, not inside the dynamic, below the dynamic layout. Now I don't require a dynamic layout here in this page. Now we can delete the dynamic layout. Okay, how to delete means select the layout. We have a delete row option. Click on delete row. Okay, so now by default we are having a tab here. Okay, so in the first tab, so we have to give the title of the tab. If you go to the settings here, so you can see the title. Okay, so what are the title you want to give for this? I'm giving a name as title name as login, and next to this tab I want to add one more tab. So again go to the layout option, select tab option, and this time see you will get an option before the layout and after the layout. You will get an option to add it. Suppose if you add after the layout, again your new layout will be added, but my requirement is not adding a new tab layout. So within the layout only I want to just add a tab next to this login option. Okay, I want to add a new tab next to the login tab. So what we have to do is drag this tab option inside the tab layout. Inside the tab layout, if you place the option pointer next to the first tab, you will get a small line. Okay, so when you get that line and if you release the option, so a new layout will get added next to the first tab. Okay, not outside or before the tab layout, inside the tab layout next to the first tab we have to place the position, tab position. So then you can add a new layout here, and we can do the label for this, for the second tab. So like this you can add any number of tabs if you have a requirement. Now inside the login we can add few properties, and what are the properties you want to give inside the sign up, you can add in the sign up tab. Okay, so two tabs are there, and accordingly we can add the properties. And I don't want to save the data. Okay, if you want to save the data and map to the database, means same procedure whatever we followed in the last session, we can follow the same procedure. So I'm not creating a data table for this, and not creating a work class properties. Okay, I'm just giving the labels here. For the properties I'm just giving the labels here. Okay, I'm not creating any work class properties and data class properties. Just I want to display the form. So here my requirement is, when I click on the login option, I want to just display this form. Okay, if you want to insert, means in the last session what are the procedure we followed, same procedure we can follow. Okay, so here my requirement is only to display the form, not to save the data to the database. If you want to save the data to the database, you can follow the procedure in the last session. Okay, so right now inside the login I'm giving some labels, some 3 to 4 controls I will take. Okay, so in the login option I'm giving some label for the properties, but I'm not adding the property names, only label I'm giving. Okay, now click on sign up. Okay, just give the labels and save this form. And here see, tab positions also we can change. So by default the tab position is in the top and in the horizontal order. Okay, see, if you want to change the orientation of the tab or position of these tabs, if you want to change the orientation or position of these tabs, you can go to the layout settings. There will be, so by default the tab position is top, and if you want to see the preview of this, so the tab position will be in the top, and properties will be, so as usual in a rows you will get. If you click on sign up, it will display properties in the sign up. If you click on login, so suppose if you want to orientation of the tabs in the left side, then we can change the settings here. So tab position, okay, we have different options. If you want to give the tab position in the bottom or in the right, so bottom and right we will never use. Suppose if you want to use it in the left side, so, and tab orientation horizontal means in a straight line it will show. So click on OK. But here in this section you cannot see, you can see in the preview how it will look. Okay, like this so many settings will be there. If you want we can change accordingly. If you want we can change to vertical also. Vertical means So in the actually vertical it will not work in the preview here properly because you cannot see. So here it will be, you will get the tabs like this. Login tab you will get here. Okay, it will work in some problem with the personal edition server. So generally vertically if you take means here you will get the login option and here you will get the sign up option. Okay, previously in previous version it used to work, some problem with the server in the personal edition. So generally vertical means, so next to this row, so in a straight line in a vertical order you will get the tab. Okay, if that one also we will never use. So either we will use tab orientation as top, or in the left side we will use horizontal option we will use. Okay, so right now anyway I am going with the default option top only. Click on OK. So save this. Once after saving this section, create a fly action for this. Generally we can also use a harness also, so that harness option I will discuss in the coming sessions. In the drop down select the section name. Okay, we are using the Paytm only, right? Okay, login or sign up section. Save fly action. Now go back to the home screen section. From this link settings, from the link control settings, we have to configure the fly action rule name. Okay, so here we have something called actions tab. See, every control will contain not only this link, where what are the control you take, either it is text input or radio button or anything. So every control will have a action tab, actions tab. So inside the actions tab we can set events and actions. We can set events and actions. So events means like mouse events, keyboard events, change events will be there, and actions means whenever we click on that link or whenever we change the option or whenever we select that option, what type of action it should perform. So PEGA by default it will show all the types of possible actions. So what are the possible actions available, it will show all the actions. Accordingly we have to set an action based on that requirement. So here if you go to this link settings, now we need to set an action, because when I click on the link it should display some page. Okay, so we have to configure that in the so link settings, go to actions tab, create an action set. So when I click on this button, you will get two options, add an event and add an action. So under add an event, so you will use click option. Okay, because link option is nothing but a click we will use, because for the link we will use click option, and event will be click and action will be, so here I want to launch fly action rule name, right? So if you want to launch a fly action rule means, so we have an action called launch local action. So if you click on this launch local action, it will ask you to configure the name of the fly action. So our fly action name is login or sign up fly action. Now how you want to display this page? See, now what are the fly action rule we are giving here, how you want to display that fly action. So if you want to replace the existing page, means the current page, or you want to display in a overlay format, or you want to display in a modal dialog box, Okay, so here it is like a login or sign up option, right? So I want to display a modal dialog box, and format we have some standard format is there. So maximum I will go with the standard options, and template and all is already given. Just click on OK. So from this link option, from the link control, we are configuring the flag action rule. Okay, so what are the flag action we created from this page? So I'm going to configure this flag action from this link settings. So now save this page, save the section. Now if you want to see the preview of the image and the link, click on this case. Okay, so image will display like this, and if you click on this link option, it will display the page in a dialog box. Okay, this is a dialog box, so you will get a by default login tab, and if you click on sign up, it will display the options inside the sign up. Okay, if you want what are the properties you want, we can add your own properties. So generally, if you want to display any link, means if you want to configure any link, this is one procedure, and we can also use some other procedures you'll get in the coming sessions. Okay, some other rules using harness rule also we can configure the same thing. Okay, there I'll tell the difference, what is the difference between flag action rule and what is the difference between the harness, you'll get in coming sessions. Okay, so this is one way, so one procedure how to configure a link, or so same thing if you take button also same process. Okay, so what are the way or what are the procedure we configure the link control, same way you can also configure the button also. So that one also will get in the coming sessions. Okay. Now, so within this section I will tell you a simple scenario. Okay, so we have done the in the last session we have done insert function we used. Okay, now similarly we will see how to perform fetch. Okay, in the fetch also we will see how to fetch single record, because again in the fetching we have two different types will be there, fetching single record and fetching multiple records, and both the process is totally entirely different. Okay, fetching single record means we will follow a similar procedure whatever we followed for the insert, but if you want to dynamically fetch multiple records from the database means, so we have to configure a separate rules for that. Okay, we need to use a database rule and we have to configure in the activity. So that one you will get in tomorrow's session. So today's session we will see how to fetch single record. So actually what is fetching single record? See, fetching single record means this fetching single record we can perform using primary key property from the table. For example, some general example I will tell you. For example, in an organization, if we enter the employee ID, so employee ID will be unique one, right? So if you enter employee ID, it should display all the information related to that employee. So what is the name of that employee? So what is the role of the employee? So what is his education? So what is the salary, current salary? So like some other details, so many details will be there. So all the details will be fetched based on this employee ID. Okay, so here employee ID is a primary key property, because so same ID will not be there for multiple employees, it will be unique one. Okay, like that fetching single record, whenever we perform, we can only perform using we can only fetch using primary key property only from the data table. Okay, just I will show, even though it will not work in the real time, just using the current existing table, I will tell the procedure how to fetch the single record. Okay, so in the current table, I think network ID is a primary key property. Okay, so based on the network ID, if I enter a network ID, it should display the what is the recharge type. Okay, what is the other things, network operator, circle, amount. So all the things it should display. So based on the network ID, what means we are going to test here. Okay, we will configure the logic in the backend, and I will enter the network ID, and based on the network ID it should display all the records for this current ID property. Okay, so for that already we have a data table and we have properties configured in the work class. So directly we can configure a section now. Okay, directly we can configure a section, action, then activity, and I will create a flow for this. Okay, so these 4 steps will configure for this scenario. So, and here section, I'm going to create 2 different sections. So one section for the record, entering the record, because entering the primary key, I'm going to take the first section. And for display purpose, see, once after giving the record, it will load the records from the data table and it will fetch in the user interface form. Okay, means for displaying the records we need to create another form. Okay, means 2 sections I'm going to create in this scenario. Okay, in the first section I'm going to use only the network ID, and in the second section I'm going to add all the properties. Okay, I'm creating a separate section for this. So in the first section I'm giving only the network ID property. And make it as a mandatory field. If you want to set as a mandatory field, means go to property settings, click on this, enable this option, required option, then it becomes a mandatory field. Okay, compulsory we need to give the input for this record, for this property. Now I'm going to add one more section. And this section is for display purpose, for displaying the fetched data. And in this I'm going to use what are the properties we have in the data table. All the properties, means work class properties only will give, not data class properties. So what are the properties we have in the database, I'll give the same property names. Okay, here I'll use a different layout. We'll see starting using the other layouts also. Okay. So go to the layout option, drag and drop the layout. Okay, I'm going to use a smart layout this time. Smart layout is nothing but which contains some fixed templates. See, smart layout contains 3 fixed templates: single, double and triple. So single means generally in a single row we can, in each row we can add one property. So double means in each row we can add 2 fields. Triple means in each row we can add 3 fields. So that too, if you have requirement, it's not mandatory again. If you want to add only the, suppose if you are taking smart layout triple, you can only add the property in the 3rd column. Okay, so generally I'll show the how the single will be. Means single means generally in each row we can add 1 field. And how to add a property in a smart layout means, so generally for example, drag and drop the property to the field option, not to the label. So wherever the field option is there, to the field option we have to add the property. So because label, in the label you will get the name of the property, and in the field option you will get the text box. Now if you want to add more fields, right, we have to click on insert row after. Okay, you can insert any number of rows, then add the remaining fields. And you can set all these fields as read only, because we are only just displaying the records for this page. Okay, so you can set all the fields as read only fields. So how to set as a read only field means, so go to field settings, go to presentation, under edit options select read only always, and by default the text alignment will be right side, right? So for the integer, so make it as a left side only, text alignment as left side, because for the integers by default the alignment is right side, and for the text data type by default it is left side only. Okay, for this also under edit option select read only. So all these fields we are setting as read only fields, because we will not change the data, it is only for the displaying the fetched records only. This layout and this properties we are using for displaying the fetched records. And change the alignment to left side, click on OK. Now we don't require the dynamic layout here, you can delete this one, save this section. Now for both these sections, this one and this one, we will create two full action rules, will create separately. User interface, full action, and for the second one also we will define one more full action. Okay, in the drop down select section name. Now next step, we will configure this business logic, means inside the activity we are going to configure the, so how it should display, so based on, so how it should search for the record in the database and how it should display. For that we need to use the methods. And if you see the scenario in the insert scenario in the last session, so for performing insert we use the first step. In the first method we used property set, right? And in the second method obj save we are using. Similarly here, so we are doing in a reverse way. So we are, in the last session we did insert, now from the data class we are loading the records to the work class. Okay, now we are doing the reverse thing. So last time we did initializing the values from work class to data class, then inserting to the data class. Now from the data class we are mapping to the work class, means now at the time of fetching single record, so first method will be, so generally the method name for fetching single record is obj open. So first of all, in the step 1, first method we will use obj open. Then what obj open will do means, it will search for the record, see what are the record entered in the network ID, so that record is available in the database or not, it will check. Obj open will open for a record and search for that record. If record is there, Then in the second step we need to initialize the values. Now from data class to the work class we can initialize the values using property set method. Okay, so initialize the values and display them in the user interface. So for that, so in the first step we'll use obj open, and in the second step we'll use property set method. Okay, so these two methods we'll use in this scenario. And coming to pages and classes, so we have to give a different set of, okay, class names will be work class and data class we'll use, but this time the page names will change. Okay, so in the last session for insert function, what is the default page for the work class? We have taken default pages py work page. Okay, that is only for the insert, not for every time. Suppose if you want to perform fetch, every time we will not use py work page. It is only for the insert only. This for the work classes we'll use py work page, and for the data class we'll give any user page name. Any user page name. Now at the time of fetching single record, see for the work class you can give any page name, because see the final debugging will be done from the work class level, right? See in the previous case at the data class level we'll perform the final debugging. So here in the while fetching single record also, from the data class we are loading the data and fetching the records to the work class fields user interface. Inside the work class only we have the user interface form, and we have to fetch the data and display it to the user interface, and that all the user interface design and everything is inside the work class. So final debugging will perform at the work class. So for the work class we can enter any page name for debugging purpose, and for the data class if you want to perform this fetch, so PEGA contains a default page here. Okay, not pure page, but anytime we are fetching single record from the database, we can provide a default page name as primary at the time of fetching single record from the database. So if you can, for the data classes we can use the page name as primary, and for the work class you can give any page name. Okay, so it is not same every time. So at the time of insert we will use this scenario, and at the time of fetching single record, so for the work class we can give any page name, and for the data class the default page is primary. Okay, here primary is the default page, and at the time of insert py work page is a default page. Okay, remember this thing. So anytime if you perform insert means, so you will follow this process. So for the pages and classes, so class name and page name will be like this, and at the time of fetching single record, so the class names and page names will be like this. For the data class the default page name will be primary, and for the work class you can enter any page name. So just understand this concept, you can easily practice on these things. Now we will create one activity from technical category, open activity rule. First of all, go to pages and classes and give this configuration. So work class and data class and page names we have to enter. Go to pages and classes. So you can give in any order. I'm giving a data class name first. What is our class names? My app, I think. And data class name is rec info, and work class name is work-ptm. For the data class you will give default pages primary, and for the work class you can give any page name. I am giving as fetch page. Now go to step. First method we will use obj open method. Okay, in the step page, so what is our new user page we have given, we will give that page in the step page option. So here, so not the default one, the new user page is fetch page. So here we will give the step page name as fetch page. Expand this obj open method. Okay, it will contain some parameters. We will configure the parameters. Okay, the first option is open class. Open class is nothing but from which data class we are searching the record. Enter the data class name. That is data-rec info, and directly we will have option called property name and property value. Okay, when we use obj open, this property name here we are giving in the, so actually here we are giving input from the this form, user interface form, we are giving the input. So here we are having the property name here. So property name is having in the user interface form. So while configuring this activity, so only primary key property only we have to configure in the obj open. So that is, so what is the work class property? Fetch page dot network ID, and in the right side for the data class properties, primary is the page name, primary dot network ID is the property name. Okay, means when end user enter the record here, it will search in the data class whether the record is there in the database or not. Okay, if the database record is there, then we are adding the logic in the next step. So here in the next step we are using property set method. So using this property set, so we are going to initialize the values. So how to display them, and I told you whenever we use a property set, property name is data class properties and property value means work class properties. So for the data class, primary is the page name, right? So for all these properties we are displaying the records. Okay, so now we can configure all these properties one after another. Suppose if you want to display records only for only 4 properties, means add only 4 properties in the property set method. If you want to display records for all the fields, means, so in the property set method we will configure for all these fields. Okay, in the right side, fetch page dot property name, okay, so mapping is done. So first step, so what obj open will do is when end user enter a record in this, in the user interface form, so what are the record we enter? Okay, for testing purpose in the developer environment we will only test. Okay, suppose if I enter a record here, then it will check in the database. Okay, in the database we have given the name here, open class we have given the database name, so data table name. So it will based on the primary key only we can search, right? So it will based on the primary key, so we will give the record and it will search for the value in the database. So if the value is matching with the record given in the property name in the user interface, then it will move forward to the next step. Okay, in the coming sessions we can add validations also, server validations also we can define. So we have an option called jump condition, right? So using the jump condition in the coming sessions we can add server validations. Okay, right now I'm not adding any validations. If record is matching with the entered record in the user interface, then it will display the records for these properties. So for all these properties it is going to display the records from the data table. So I'm going to save this activity, and before saving this activity, even this activity also I'm going to use inside a flow diagram only. So if you want to use this activity in a flow diagram, so I told you we have to take the usages utility, then only we can access this activity inside a flow diagram. So from the security tab, select the usages utility and save this activity. Now in the next step I will configure a flow directly from the process rule type. I'm not going to configure a case here. I'm going to manually create a flow. So from the process, click on flow. So both are same only. So if you create from the process flow or if you configure from the case also, both are same. But the difference is, so this flow we are not configuring in a case. I'm not adding this flow inside a case. So that's the only difference. I'm individually creating a flow and testing this one. Click on open. Now inside this flow we will configure these flow actions and the activity rule. We are having 2 flow actions and 1 activity. So in this flow diagram, so first of all in the first, okay, if you want to add a flow action means, so first of all after the start shape you will take assignment shape. After the start shape we will give assignment. Okay, already we have assignment shape is there. In the assignment connector properties we will give the first flow action, that is fetch single. In assignment connector properties we will give the first flow action. Then after this add utility shape. Okay, because once end user give the input in the form, right, it will immediately check for the logic, so whether the record is matching with the database record or not. It will check from the utility shape, because inside the utility we will configure the activity name, right? So immediately when end user give the record in the network ID property, immediately it will search for the business logic. Okay, it will open a record, and whether the record is there in the database or not, it will check. If record is there, then in the next page it will display the fetched records. So which will open will fetch the records, and these fetched records it is going to display. See, we must place one screen, right? So for fetching purpose we need a screen. So that screen after the utility shape I am placing, and in this connector properties I am going to call the display flow action. Now save this flow and test this one, whether we are getting the record from the data server or not, database or not. Okay, first of all let's see what are all the records we have and what is the network ID we have, because based on the network ID only we can fetch the records. Once check the data table, I think we are having only one record is there. So try to enter few records manually. Okay, I'm giving few records here manually. Once refresh, it will update automatically. Okay, so just save these records. If you enter any record now based on the network ID, it will display the values for the other things. Now once run this flow, okay, from the flow itself I'm executing this one. Go to actions and click on run option. Only this particular flow only it will execute. I'm not running the entire case. I'm only executing this particular individual flow only I'm executing. Click on run. Okay, enter network ID. I'm giving 2. Okay, for this network ID, these are all the records, related records. So network recharge type is postpaid, network operator is a idea, circle is daily, and amount is 800. Like this. So any scenario if we get like fetching single record means we can follow this setup. One second. Okay, once again enter a different record. So first of all it will display the first form with network ID. So now based on the record we enter, so it will search for the record. Okay, it will search for this 3 network ID. So and based on that it will display the records for the other properties. Okay, so this is like fetching single record, and fetching multiple records, it's a different process. So dynamically we can load any number of records from the database for each property. At a time we can load for one property or multiple properties also we can load. Okay, so that scenario we'll do in the next session, another session. It will take so much time. Okay, so today we configured we have seen how to configure a icon or image, and how to configure a link using the flow action rule, and how to fetch single record from the data table. Okay. So now any questions now you can ask me. Yeah, and that's what we can create a separate screens for that. That's what I told. Like we can do in a different way also. That one you'll get in the coming sessions. Using harness we will do generally that scenario. Yeah, then only it will display the main screen. Yeah, we can at the time we have to add validations also for that. Server validations also we have to define. Okay, it acts as a primary server. How to have it to, for example, yeah, clipboard. See, actually it's a pre-config. PEGA default server is clipboard, actually primary server we can say, but it is a temporary server. So this temporary server will display only the records related to the latest case ID, or we can call it as the latest thread information only will be there. See, for example, we executed this flow right now, right? So what is the flow ID here? P4 is the flow ID, or we can also call as case ID actually. P4 is the flow ID. Now this clipboard contains a data related to the latest thread only. So right now you can see we are viewing thread number as P4. So under the P4, if you see what are the user pages we are having, so every time automatically it will update the server in the clipboard. So whenever we execute a new flow and generate a thread number, so it will erase the previous information, it will update the latest thread information. And currently we are using two pages. One is, okay, our own user page here we are using is fetch page, right? Okay, search for the fetch page here, alphabetical order you can see. So we have a fetch page option. So what are the records it is loading from the server, it will display here. Okay, if it is showing in the clipboard means then it will successfully map to the user interface page also. If you are unable to view the records means it is not fetching the records from the data table. If you can see the records in the clipboard server, and if you have then any logical errors are there, suppose it is displaying in the clipboard but not displaying inside the user interface page means, then you can debug using the tracer tool. Okay, server level, if everything is correct, okay, from the database it is loading the records and displaying in the primary server. Clipboard acts as a primary server here. Okay, if it is displaying in the primary server but not displaying in the user interface means some logical errors will be there. So if you have any such logical errors, then we can debug using the tracer tool. Okay, tracer also you'll get in the coming sessions. So there is another debugging tool is a tracer. Okay, so if you have any logical like rule based any technical errors are there, we can trace using the tracer option. And server level debugging means, so based on the recent thread only, not the previous threads or anything, when you execute the recent case or any recent flow is executed, it will generate this case ID. Okay, so based on that case ID we can perform debugging inside the clipboard whether the values are mapped correctly or not. Means because most of the time we will map between different classes, data class to work class to data class, or in the coming sessions mostly we will use integrations. At the time of working on integrations also mainly we will use clipboard only, because clipboard acts as a primary server in between any of these classes, in between work class or data class, or in between work class or integration class, or in between the PEGA and external system also. So clipboard acts as a primary server. So whenever we work on integrations, right, so whenever we get a input from any external system or anything, again at that time also clipboard only acts as a primary server. Okay, but it is a temporary server. If I restart the server, the data will lost in the clipboard. Okay, if I log out from the tool and when I relog in, again the data will lost. Okay, the thread information will be gone. Like that it acts as a temporary server. So where you can debug only the latest thread information only we can debug. Yeah, it's only for not to the production, it's only for the developer purpose only. So this one we'll use only for the developer purpose. Every developer will have its own clipboard, because based on the operator ID this will display. So every operator will have his own operator ID, right? So this is the operator ID. So every operator ID will have his own clipboard. So based on that it will display the logs and server and all everything. No, not inside the user machine. It will store in the server. Okay, so any other questions? Yes, tell me. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can, because in the activity we will give the class names and everything. So everything we can keep in one section, we can update in the table. It depends. So how many properties you want to map within the activity, you can map accordingly. So within the same section, you can give all the fields and you can map to the same table. So using different layouts also we can use. Okay. Okay, yes, tell me. Okay. 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 Okay, it will open a new flow here. So again a new flow will configure. So after executing this flow, then it will execute this flow. After completing this flow, then it will move to the second stage. And within the stages, suppose if you want to give conditions, we can give conditions. So without executing the second step, you can directly jump to the next stage. Like that, within the flows also, if you want to give conditions, we can add conditions. That one I will tell you. Yeah. Just simple thing, CRC. So most of the time, remember here, while giving the page name set, maybe only area where you will get errors is just to make sure you are giving the page name format as this one. So maximum most of the time, you will get while practicing, sometimes you'll give a page name as, like sometime you'll not follow the naming convention here. So this is one thing you have to take care, because this is actually a default page name. We are not defining by ourselves. It is already PEGA predefined page. So while defining such page names, we have to give the same naming convention, must be same. So py small, w caps and p caps. Or if you have any doubts, you can open the clipboard tool and you can refer. Okay, while giving the naming conventions. So this, okay, in this area most of the time you'll get errors, and at the time other things maximum this is the only area. Okay, other things you can easily follow. Okay, because in a warnings not a problem. Yeah, warnings is not a issue. Errors, so warnings are nothing but like guardrails rules. Okay, no need to take care about any warnings. So if it is error message, then only we'll take care. Okay, warnings no need to worry. Like actually PEGA will say that guardrails they have to follow. So but every time it's not possible, so I'll tell you. So PEGA will have some guardrails for design guardrails and application design guardrails and user interface design guardrails will be there. Okay, actually according to the PEGA standards we have to follow them, but in the real time at least 60 to 70% if you follow it's sufficient. 100% it's not possible. So some meter will be there, warning meter will be there. So how much percent of design guardrails will be there. So in the design how much percent you are following and how much percent you are not following, it will display a meter for us. Okay, accordingly we have to follow. Okay, that one I'll tell you in the coming sessions. When I get the topic, then I will discuss. Okay. Okay, so we'll see tomorrow. Thank you.